Hey, we're already in February 2025, and I know many people started 2025 with some ideas about what they wanted to achieve, where they want to get to, and great news, we're only 1 month in, so we still have 11 months left to achieve your goals. So one of the great things I find about teaching English is that I'm surrounded by people who have very specific goals that they want to achieve, whether it's changing country, changing job, getting a promotion, meeting other people from other countries and talking or traveling. They're very focused and they all have very specific ways of achieving what they want to achieve. A lot of it is just turning up. It's just doing the hard work over and over again. But I thought it would be nice to share some of my techniques that I've used in starting businesses and things that I've learned from people over the years. And please feel free to add at the end any that you think I haven't mentioned that should have an honorary mention, or if any of these help you, please let me know. So a lot of these will stack. It all comes down to hard work. It all comes down to, like I said, turning up, focusing, and just doing the same thing again and again and again. However, there are some strategies I found that do fit nicely together. So the first one I have to mention is the SMART objectives. So a specific goal, something that you will be aiming to achieve. Something's measurable. So how are you going to track the progress? How are you going to make sure that you're achieving what you need to achieve to get the goal? Is it achievable? Is it something you can achieve? It's brilliant to set massive objectives, but when you're setting a SMART objective, make sure that it's something that you can actually achieve. Otherwise, it's very upsetting. Is it relevant? So does it kind of tie in with your general goals, your general aims? Otherwise, it can be very hard work to try and swing it away from what you're naturally moving towards. And is it time bound? So make sure it has a deadline. I think one thing I have found with all goals is it really helps to write stuff down. So whichever technique you use, definitely I would recommend write down your goal. It gives it a level of importance, a level of seriousness once it's actually on paper. And it sounds silly, but for a long time I resisted it because once you write it down, it seems real. And that's kind of the point. So make sure you write down whichever technique you use. Make sure you write down your big goals and then how you're going to achieve it. So, okay, we've got the objectives and then the key results. So the one where you set your big objective and then you would list the key results of how you get there. So this is actually one that Google uses. So you might say, okay, I want to be an influencer. And then what does that look like? What would it mean to be an influencer? So what would be your key result? I want to have 10,000 likes, or I want to comment on 20 posts every day with meaningful content, or I want to go on TED Talks, or I want to be interviewed on podcasts. So whatever the results would be that would mean you have achieved that objective. So that's a really good way of actually kind of almost working it backwards. So what does it look like to be this thing, this person, this level? So that's a nice one. Backwards planning. This is one I've definitely used. I used this with my first business, actually. So with that business, there were lots of different elements, lots of licensing and local government things I needed to work through. And so some of the things that I had to achieve, I had to do one part before I could do the second part. And then some of them could run at the same time. So I literally worked out the timings of, okay, everything from start to finish, how long will it take? That gave me my launch date. And then I, on Excel, just mapped it backwards. I colored squares to say, right, this task will take this many weeks. This task takes this many weeks. And by month, it just naturally gave me my launch date. So that was a very, very powerful, useful one for me that I used to start my first business. And yeah, it just allows you to control. Again, you just have to make sure that you take action at the right time. Because the further if you have a very, very clear launch plan, then if one thing happens that messes it up, you can feel quite sad and quite despondent. So yeah, just make sure you're checking it, make sure you're achieving all the tasks that you've set. Goal stacking. Yeah, this is an interesting one. This is basically where you put one goal with another goal. So basically you would say, right, okay, I'm going to start off by doing 5 sit-ups. And then you can go to 15 sit-ups or 5, 10, 15. So you basically start with something and then you add something on top. And then before you know it, you've got some meaningful, big achievements under your belt, which makes you feel happy. I did something not quite like this. I didn't do the goal stacking, but I did the habit stacking. So I've tried that where you do one thing that you naturally do. So it might be clean your teeth. And then you do one thing, not even associated with that, but one thing linked to that. So you might do, mine was cleaning teeth and then pull-ups. And then I would have a piece of paper and it would say cleaning teeth in one column, pull-ups in another column, and then the third column would be a big smiley face or a sad face. And once I cleaned my teeth, the idea was that I would do my pull-ups on the bar outside the bathroom. And if I did them, I could put my smiley face. And if I didn't, I could put my sad face. So that might be one that you might want to use. And then the last one I've listed here is implementation of intention. So you replace the word at with if. So instead of saying at 7, I will go to the gym, you will say if it is 7, I will go to the gym. So if this happens, this happens. If it is 8 o'clock, I will go and write 10 minutes of my thesis. If it is 10 o'clock on a Monday, I will read this part of my book. So it's a way of saying, if this happens, which it will, this is what happens. Something I have done with this and linked with this is something that someone told me years and years ago, which is the 1, 2, 3 go method, which sounds very simple, but if you tend to procrastinate, like I sometimes do, this is fantastic. So if it's 6 o'clock, I go to the gym. My brain says, oh, I don't want to go to the gym. It's cold. I just go 1, 2, 3, go. And I just do it. And it sounds like a childlike thing, but it actually works. So I would highly recommend that. Okay, I think that's all for now because I don't want to overwhelm people with lots of different ways, but I might do another one of these. Please feel free to add comments, and I hope these have been helpful. Good luck with 2025. You've got